Good morning, everyone. I call the Tuesday, December 2nd, 2025 Environmental Committee meeting to order.
Where's your gal?
Could I have the roll call, please?
Chair Sabah Heather,
Here.
Vice Chair Lucy Evans, Member Cindy Cahill,
Here.
Member Melissa Martinez,
Here.
Member Andrew Honig,
Here.
Member Lynn LaPlante.
All right. For Chairwoman's remarks, I hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Ours was restful, lots of shoveling snow, but that was good exercise right after a big meal. And if I don't see you guys before the holidays, I wish you all a very happy holidays. Enjoy time with your loved ones, get some rest, and we'll see you in January. Do we have any public comments for today? Awesome. Thank you. We have Kay McKean.
Morning, everybody.
Good morning.
So, yeah, I hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving, right? Yep. So it's been a really busy November, and between the pumpkin smash, we had 3 different days for the pumpkin smash. So that was a lot of pumpkins, but it's kind of interesting. This little project we started in 2014, it's gone nationwide. So of the towns that registered, there are 125 towns that registered on our website from across the country, which is kind of amazing. So here in DuPage, we had 24 towns that did it. We don't have all the totals, but of the totals, the towns that did give us numbers, it's over 94,000 pounds. So a lot of CO2 prevented, methane prevented, right? Lots of water saved. Really, really cool. The cooking oil project, of course, took place in this blizzard on Saturday, but Elmhurst got the most.
Good.
Elmhurst got 2 pallets. They haven't
A
even
lot
had
of
a
fried
chance.
food now.
I don't know if it's all a lot of fried food or if it's a combination of a lot of PR there. I think the residents can really count on it at the, at the public works there. So, and of course, places like the Downers Grove one, they do it 7 days a week. So nobody needs to rush out on that Saturday after Thanksgiving to get rid of cooking oil in Downers Grove or at the Glenbard station. So, it's pretty cool that it's expanded that much. But then, and I'm sure Joy's going to talk about it, the paint project. Scarce is one of the drop-offs for paint so that people don't send it to a landfill. So we're doing a really soft open in December because we've got the Christmas tree project that we're working on, the holiday light project, and they don't have their routes organized yet as to when they're going to pick up. And we could be full in 1 day. And we don't have room for many, many bins. So we're going to do a really soft open this month and then gear it up in January to see what's going on, right? But the big deal about the Christmas trees, you guys, is one, if you live in an apartment or a condo, you can't put your Christmas tree out at the curb because you can't buy a sticker. That's not how the haulers set it up. So we're working with the townships again to see if people can drop off their Christmas trees there in their townships. So whether you have a small business or your apartments or condos or whatever, you'll have a place to take your Christmas tree. So that's going to be a bit of work this month, but we're excited. So yeah, good month. And last of the recycling extravaganzas took place in November. So we're kind of glad to have a couple months off for that. So thanks for all you guys do for helping to get the word out about the pumpkin smash and the cooking oil. All those things really help residents. They need to hear it multiple places in different ways in order to get things in their heads, right? So thank you.
Okay, is there a start date for the Christmas tree pickup?
Yeah, different towns have different days.
Okay.
And so we're trying to get it all in one spot. I'm sure Miles is going to work on that as well. But different towns have different dates. Ours we're trying to do for the people who aren't part of the town. So unincorporated as well as apartments and condos.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we'll have those dates when the townships are ready to take them. Yes.
Thank you. So those that are looking for those dates can look at the website.
And we'll get them
find
to
those dates.
Miles
Awesome.
when we have them. Yep.
All right, I'll entertain, I'll seek a motion to approve our minutes.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. We move on to presentations, and we have Walter Willis from Feed and Conserve, Illinois, talking about food recovery and diversion bill 1398. Walter, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us via Zoom this morning. The floor is all yours.
All right. Good morning, Chair and members of the committee. I appreciate you giving me some time to talk about Senate Bill 1398 and its companion bill, House Bill 1707. I am the executive director of the Solid Waste Agency of Lake County, and we represent 43 municipalities, and the County of Lake is a member of the agency. Both Swalco and Lake County have formally taken position of support of the bill. It was introduced last session from your area, Senator Ellman, I don't know if Murphy represents DuPage County or not, and Senator Villa are all co-sponsors on the bill currently. So just so you're aware of that. What we're trying to do now with Feed and Conserve is build a grassroots movement. I don't think you can pick up a newspaper. I still read a newspaper without reading about SNAP or the stress that's on our system as far as feeding people and the amount of food that we are wasting. These are all big issues top of mind. What does this bill do, and why should DuPage County think about supporting it? 11 other states have laws like this that really the big generators, we're looking at non-residential. Currently the bill includes residential, but we're working on an amendment. Most of those other states focus on non-residential, the big generators, your grocery stores, your big restaurants, your big hotels, and require them to divert their material through different means. And this bill has a waste hierarchy in it, or food scrap hierarchy. Quit wasting so much in the first place, right? And then secondly, feed people. Third, feed animals. It's a limited outlet, but it is a viable option. And finally, either compost it or take it to what we call an anaerobic digester. You cannot landfill it if it's applicable to you under this bill. So there's a gradual implementation from 2028 to 2034. This is going to take time to build infrastructure. We've watched what the other states have done out east, mainly in New England. Massachusetts is kind of the poster, the gold standard, if you will. And it takes time for the infrastructure to build up to provide the access, because right now we take it all to landfill, primarily food scrap. It also would define a covered establishment. So we're going to be focusing mainly on entities and institutions that generate a significant amount of food. As we work on an amendment, we are looking at grants to help build the infrastructure, food recovery groups. We've seen in the other states that have passed legislation like this, a significant increase in food donation, which is really what we want under this bill. But we also need to know that their pipeline is only so big. And if we try to put more food through it, we're going to have an issue without expanding their pipeline and their network. So that's something we're thinking about as well with the food recovery groups. Why are we doing this? Well, the number one reason, obviously, is to feed people. We need to make Illinois more resilient in the face of these SNAP cuts and postponements. Who knows if we'll have another one. We saw the ripple effect. We know what's going on with pantries right now. They need more food. Secondly, it will create jobs. Anytime you take material out of the landfill and bring it into the economic mainstream, it creates economic activity and jobs. Massachusetts just did a study on their law, over 1,600 new jobs, almost $400 million in economic activity. Getting material out of the landfill does lead to jobs and economic activity without a doubt. And finally, greenhouse gas reductions, right? 58% of the methane our landfills generate is from the food that we're putting in it. So if we start starving the landfills of food, we can reduce greenhouse gas emissions as well. Where are we now? We're working with some stakeholder groups. When we introduced the bill this past session, you learn a lot about what people do and don't like about your bill. And so we're working with the food recovery groups. The waste industry is not opposed to this bill currently, formally, so that's a good thing. They're willing to work with us. The compost facilities, local government, and IEPA. We've been holding meetings with Senator Johnson. We're going to have our third one on December 8th. We hope to file an amendment that's going to go along the lines of getting the residential requirement out, changing the way we implement the law. It'll really focus on the bigger counties first. And DuPage, you're going to be in there with the first group of counties that's going to need to comply under this law. So we'll get an amendment filed before the January 16th deadline for Legislative Reference Bureau, and we will work this bill in 2026. We already have 14 senators supporting it. And the Senate, as I mentioned, senators that represent DuPage County as well, I'm happy to say. So I will stop there. There's a lot going on with this legislation, but I think we can all agree that recovering food and cutting down on food waste is a really important issue for our country.
Does anyone have any questions for Walter? Go ahead.
Can you please say the percentage again of greenhouse gases that food waste emits into the atmosphere?
So according to the US EPA and studies they've done, about 20% of the tonnage that goes in a landfill is food scrap, and it's generating 58% of the methane. It's, that's what the bugs, when they eat organic material, their byproduct is methane, and that if you put organic material in a landfill, you're going to have more methane.
How come we've never heard that statistic before? I've never heard that in all the environmental discussions, and we hear all about obviously cows, and I've never heard this about food waste.
You got to hang around with me more, I guess.
I guess so. You must have the fun cocktail parties. Okay.
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you.
Question. So who is this mainly directed at? Are you saying like Jewel grocery stores, restaurants, Costco? And is that who you're focusing on?
Yes, we have a definition of a covered establishment, but it's really the grocers, the big restaurants, the big banquet halls. You do get into the fast food arena, but there's not a lot of food waste there, either front of the house, with people eating it, or back of the house. They're pretty efficient, but it would go all the way to those types of establishments. And, we are doing a study with DePaul right now. They're looking at, there's over 2,500 grocery stores in Illinois, big grocery stores. I'm not talking about convenience and little places, but so that's a lot. And we're trying to figure out how many now are currently donating food. Most of them do if there's a network, and how many are actually composting. But there's a significant amount, like all the Mariano's, there's 40 of the Aldis now. A lot of the Walmarts are already doing this. And are we going to get pushback on this legislation? Illinois is one of the largest food processors in the country. We have over 90,000 people that work in food processing, and it would impact, the big entities that are making our food. But we're arguing that with infrastructure that's close to you, which this legislation like this would basically prompt the composting and anaerobic industry to respond, that right now the tipping fee, or what you pay to go to a landfill versus a compost site, is about the same. And with depackaging facilities and the ability to take material so that the generator doesn't have to do too much to get it proper and ready to be composted, there are such things being developed and used in those other states. So, we do expect that we're going to hear from the grocery stores and the processing industry about this bill. But we still think overall it's the right thing to do with our food.
Any other questions? All right. Thank you, Walter. We really appreciate your time this morning, and we'll be in touch. Thank you.
All right, great. Thank you.
All right. I seek a motion for the action item 25-2814, recommendation for the approval of an agreement between the County of DuPage, Illinois, eWorks Electronic Services, Inc., and Reverse Logistics Group Americas, Inc., to provide electronics recycling
Second.
to residents of DuPage County for the period of January 1st, 2026 to December 31st, 2026 for an amount not to exceed $7,000 for the Environmental Division. I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. I'll entertain a motion for 25-2826 to receive and place on file SM-P-21-25, recommendation for the approval of a contract issued to School and Community Assistance for Recycling and Composting Education, also known as FONVI SCARES, for professional education services for stormwater management for the period of December 1st, 2025 through November 30, 2026 for a contract total not to exceed 235,000, of which 85,000 from stormwater and 150,000 from environmental per RFP, second of 3 optional renewals. Do I have a second?
Was there a motion? I didn't hear a motion.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Can we
Mon-
have a little more information about this one? Can you talk to us about this?
Tell me about the earth flags, or what do you want me to tell you about?
Well, tell me, so the contract is, what is the portion that goes to stormwater? Tell me how the money is used
So many ways. So 85,000 is from stormwater. So that's the water.
from stormwater, okay?
Great. So that's the water quality flag and all those kinds of things, watershed models and things like that.
Okay.
Watershed education, those kinds of things. The rest comes from you guys for energy conservation, composting, reducing methane gases, Walter was just talking about, right? All those kinds of things. All the recycling extravaganzas that we organize, the Christmas tree projects that we work on, the earth flags, there's lots. The green audits, yeah.
So the 150,000 from us to Scarce is used for salaries and what else?
Supplies.
Supplies,
We do a
salaries and
lot of
supplies.
Yeah, we do a lot
Okay.
of supplies
Okay.
for the schools.
And do we have like an amount of, like, how much was spent last year compared to how much was spent this year?
Tell me what you mean. It's the same amount.
Okay,
We supplement, we get grants because it's
Okay.
not enough for what we do.
okay. That's all I wanted to know, what the
Yeah.
budget to actual was, kind of, what was the actual spending versus what?
We spend every single penny on
Okay,
education,
Okay.
and supplies,
Okay.
and then we get grants to supplement it. So,
okay.
yeah, it's a big county.
All right, just have to
Go
ask
ahead,
about the
Member.
numbers.
The plan.
So have we ever considered other organizations, have any other environmental organizations ever applied for this role? Nothing against Scarce. I just think we could probably add more and to get more.
Several years ago, we did do an RFP, and I can provide that information to this committee. Craig is,
Sarah Hans on the line. She
oh,
wants
okay,
to fund, you know.
okay.
Get her in.
I can kick it to Sarah then if she wants to. So we did an RFP and then this is the QBS, I believe, is what you use, Sarah?
Yes, Joy, you are correct. We have done a series of RFPs through the years. And because Scarce has been the only respondent to the RFP, we were told by procurement that we could use the QBS process, qualification-based selection, as there is an education and qualification component to this. And this is a renewal, I believe, of a previous contract. And so it's the same amount, renewal of the previous contract. The frame and rates are the same to provide the same scope of service. And if this committee and Stormwater prefer, on the next time that the contract is up, we can go back out for a full RFP. We do a lot of work in the communities trying to get other groups to submit on this. And our procurement group asks us for other vendors and we send them other vendors' names to send the advertisement for. Quite honestly, when it comes to all of these qualifications of working in the classrooms, there aren't a lot of groups that do work in the classrooms. We have a separate contract, at least in stormwater, where we utilize a conservation foundation, and we call that the community and adult education. And so it's not in the classrooms, but we utilize another group for that. And so we have separated these two contracts because they involve different components of environmental and water quality education. I apologize. That was a really long explanation. We've had a lot of discussion on this in the past in stormwater, and so I'm always ready to describe it.
Okay, so aside from stormwater for a second and focusing in on the environmental committee, when was the last time that this position went out for RFP?
Excellent question. I remember it was in
2023. The RFP was, so it was 23 from 14, so it would have been toward the end of 2000.
I'm having a hard time hearing you. So 2023 and what?
Yeah, I don't have the exact date. I can get back to you with that, but it was at the end of 2023. So this is the second, we do our contracts for a year with 3 optional renewals, and this is the second renewal.
Okay.
So
I think that as a committee, we should be very much made aware ahead of time when RFPs are going out or they're not. And if there is a chance to put out an RFP, I think it's really, I hear what Sarah Hunt said. If there aren't people applying, there aren't people applying. But I do think that this should be going out to RFP. That's my 2 cents, and that we should be informed of that ahead of time.
Thank you, Member LaPlante. Does anyone have any other questions regarding this item? All
Can I
right,
say one thing?
sure. Go ahead.
So it's great to have Walter on about food scraps. One of the most distressing things is I wrote a law for schools to be able to have share tables. The federal government, at the same time that I was writing Illinois' law, the federal government passed the same law. They send it out as a letter to all the public schools that if you had food left over that taxpayers paid for, right? We should let it go home with the kids, have a share table for kids who are extra hungry. It has been really distressing to me because we have both Illinois law and federal law to allow share tables. And during COVID, of course, some schools sent food home with kids, which was fabulous. But since COVID, almost all the schools have stopped the share tables. We have federal law and we have state law to feed kids. And currently schools are throwing out apples and oranges, and it is so upsetting to me because when we're talking about food scrap, I wrote that law too, by the way, for composting. It is very distressing to me that our schools do not have share tables set up. We have 2 laws allowing that, and we have hungry kids. Some schools are doing a fabulous job, leftover apples and things like that. Glenbard East is doing a fabulous job at their high school. But I'll tell you, I don't know if it's staffing. I'm sure they're worried about viruses and COVID and things like that. But there's ways to get the food to kids who need the food, instead of sending it to landfills to make methane gas and to waste water. Yeah.
Is it okay?
Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, and I have heard about alma mater Lombard East that they have been doing a good job with that, and maybe we can find a way to get some community roundtable to talk about what they're doing versus the other Glombards in the school district. You know, even comparing to other school districts, because there's got to be a reason that they're being more efficient in that. So I feel like that could be a really good opportunity to share thoughts and ideas to kind of, there's 2 laws on the book federally and it's statewide, like there should be no reason why not every school could.
And if you're interested in talking more about
Yeah.
that, we can talk about that during
Yeah.
new business,
Yes.
but
Oh,
anything
okay.
regarding the action item
Are
right
you done
now?
with me?
I think so. Does anyone have any more questions for Kate?
No,
Okay.
all good.
Yeah, exactly. Like, all right, moving on to staff reports, I would receive a motion to receive and place on 525-2825 Bain recycling update.
So moved.
Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, everyone. Joy, would you like to say anything about the Bain recycling? update?
Absolutely. So this just launched yesterday. We're very excited. We now have 29 locations in DuPage County where residents and businesses are going to be able to recycle their paint for free. We here at the county will be able to use paint care to dispose of the county's generated paint. So this has been a great success for us. So many locations, so Ace Hardware locations, Sherwin-Williams, J.C. Licht are the main locations in the county. So very convenient for residents, you know, as opposed to when we did our paint, it was weekends or during the week, during a limited number of hours. To have those retailer hours to drop off paint is just going to be an incredible success. So we're very excited.
Does anyone have any questions for Joy? Go ahead. Martinez.
to that paint? It's recycled. So Paint Care, actually, they are the PRO for several other states, and they actually will be recycling the paint that is deemed to be recyclable. Any paint that is not deemed recyclable would be put into a waste to energy facility. But hopefully there's GBB, there's a place in Indianapolis that is recycling paint. So hopefully what can be recycled will be recycled.
Any other questions for Joy? Go ahead, member.
Can you,
Evans.
so just to clarify, like recycled means that don't they just dump all the paint, all the different colors and come up with the gray? And then if you're like a contractor and you just need to paint somebody's apartment or something, it's a nice neutral color, but it's reusable. So it's not like it's turning into new paint. It's just still paint, but it's just all gray.
Actually, there are colors that are
Oh, are they?
available now. So
Good.
GBB is pretty savvy with the new technology and they're doing a
Okay.
great job. So you can actually buy recycled paint at many retailers.
Oh, very nice.
It's pretty cool. I'm very excited. Any other questions for Joy? Awesome. Any old business? Any new business? Anyone wants to talk about shared tables now? All right, without objection, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Happy holidays.